What's up, mobile devs? Today we are going to build from scratch this custom segmented control with Reanimated. This component comes from Steddy, which is an amazing React Native app designed by Raf featuring Aryan. The interesting fact is that I worked on the app as a consultant and I contributed to build this simple animation in the app. I'd like to thank Rafi for letting me share the process behind building this animation here on YouTube. And I highly recommend you to download Steddy because it's an awesome app, and as a small incentive, it's also full of animations. Leaving aside this tutorial, I feel I must sincerely thank you for your support this past year. The channel has reached 10,000 subscribers, which continues to seem like an incredible goal to me. I also want to thank my patrons who have given me an extra push and motivated me to always post new content. I am extremely grateful for your support. That said, we can finally move on to the code part. So here you can see that I've created a React Native project with the Expo CLI, and inside this project I've already installed the Reanimated package. We are going to use the latest version of the Reanimated package, and to fully install this package, of course, I've added the Reanimated plugin in the bubble.config.js file. So this project, this tutorial will basically include also the usage of a custom font that's totally optional. But in order to, let's say, use this custom font, the San Francisco Compact Rounded Medium, I simply added this logic inside the app container file, so nothing too fancy. We are simply loading the font from the asset. And inside the fonts folder, you can see that I've placed the San Francisco font itself. So last but not least, I believe there is simply this palette that is settled. So let's simply visualize the end result and let's see these colors. Basically, the palette.background will be used for this background color. The palette.baseGray05 will be used for, I believe, this segmented container. So right there. And for the base gray 80 will be used for the text. So this text right there. And you can see that this box, this active cell, shares basically the same color that we are using for the background color. So we are going to reuse the background color also for this active cell. That said, I think that we can already start to play a bit with the code. So first of all, let's get rid of this text. And here we are basically going to place our segmented control. So the segmented control will be a separate component, and let's create the components folder and the segmented control.tsx file. So the segmented control is going to be a React Native functional component, a React functional component. Here I'm simply using a snippet. So we can see that I've simply created the type, the segmented control as a functional component. Here, the snippet is using React Memo. That's totally up to you if you want to memorize the component. And here you can see that we have the styles. We have created the simplest style. So that said, let's import the segmented control. And let's start to play a bit with the properties that we are going to use for our segmented control. So first of all, this segmented control is going to have a bunch of options, and the options are going to be strings. We are going to have a selected option. So let's say the string. So the selected option is simply the option that is actually highlighted right there. So for instance, in this use case, standard is the selected option. We are going to have a method, let's say on press option or on option press. Okay. And I think that for now it's fine. Maybe later we are going to play a bit more with the properties. So let's retrieve there the options and let's map basically the options right there. We are going to return a simple view. And inside this view, we are going to place a text. So let's import the text from React Native. And here I believe that we need to close some parentheses. Okay. So here nothing is working, but that's simply because we need to pass here the options. So let's say, actually let's create outside the options. We are going to have light, standard, and pro. And let's pass here the options. So let's actually let's make this method optional for now. And let's simply fix the container style. Here we need, of course, to use the flex direction equal to row. So it has been fixed. We need to apply an height. So let's say height equal to 60 for now. And let's also place the background color of our segmented control. And the background color is going to be equal to palette.base gray 05, I believe. Okay, it's fine. And in the end, we simply need to apply a width to this segmented control. So let's simply apply a width equal to 300 for now. But I think it's better to use the window dimension to retrieve the window width and to say something like window width minus 40, for instance. And it looks great. So here you can see that React Native is complaining because we are not applying a key to the map, to the view that is mapped. So let's say key equal to option. And I think that it looks fine. So here, of course, the items are not placed correctly, and we need to place the items in a correct way. And in order to do that, let's start first of all to create, let's say, to refactor the code. Let's retrieve there the segmented control width. That will be equal to window width minus 40. And let's retrieve the item width. That is going to be equal to segmented control width divided the amount of options that we have. And let's simply pass this width to the view. So here Copilot automatically understood that we also need to center the items. And here we go. So at this point, I think that an important piece that we are missing is the font family. And that's simply because, we have added the logic for the font asset. So let's simply use it. And you can see that the font are starting already to look better. Let's increase also the font size. And let's apply to the external view some border radius. Let's say equal to 20. And I think that it looks fine. So let's compare. And here I think that I'm missing something, especially with the colors. So let me check again the color. Yeah, I think that the outer color actually was white probably. So let me check that again. So instead of white, let's use there the palette.background. And let's use again here the palette.base gray 05. Okay, so no, it is correct. So basically the background color wasn't applied to the effective background. So we were using the white. And in the segmented control container, we are applying the palette.base gray 05. So this one right there. And you can see that it looks almost similar. Of course, we need to fix a couple of things right there, especially the height shouldn't be probably 60, but maybe 55. And I think it looks fine. So currently you can see right there that TypeScript is complaining, and that's because we haven't passed the selected option. So for now, let's simply pass selected option equal to standard. And we are going to fix that in a while. And let's get back to our segmented control. So an important thing that we need to handle is, of course, the active box that we have behind the text. So this white box right there. So let's start actually to build this box. So let's use a view. And let's apply a position absolute to this view. The width is going to be equal to item width. The height is going to be equal to 55. And let's place the background color equal to palette.background. And there we go. So instead of saying 8 equal to 55, let's say 8 equal to 95%, or maybe 90%. Let's say also that the top should be equal to 5%. So we are centering it. Let's say 18, and here 10%. And probably we need to fix a bit the width. So let's say minus 20. And of course, we are going to fix all the issues. Let's compare the outcome. And of course, it's totally messed up. But for now, actually, let's keep it equal to width, equal to item width. Let's fix the border radius equal to, let's say, 10. And let's apply also some shadow. So let's say shadow offset equal to 0, with the height and width equal to 0, and the shadow opacity equal to 0.5. And it seems that nothing is changing, honestly. So let's use black color. Okay, no, it was changing. Let's apply the let's actually apply the black with a different opacity. Not an ideal way of doing things, but it will work. And I think that we are very close. So actually this configuration will simply work on iOS. So for Android, don't forget to play a bit with the elevation. And that's it. So at this point, of course, we are not handling correctly the selected option, because while tapping on standard and pro, we are not shifting the effective active cell. And we need to deal somehow with this fact. So in order to deal with that, let's first of all try to actually handle on the segmented control the effective option that we are passing. Because, for instance, currently we are passing the standard option, but we are visualizing the light option. So we need, of course, to deal with this logic. And in order to deal with this logic, it should be very simple. We simply need to play with the left parameter. So let's say that the left will be equal to the item width multiplied by the index of the option that we are passing. So for instance, we are passing a standard, so the index of standard inside the options array should be equal to 1. Otherwise, for light, the index is going to be 0, and for pro, it's going to be 2. So we simply need to pass here the options dot index of not standard, let's say the selected option that we need to retrieve right there, selected option. And you can see that it is actually working correctly. So instead of passing standard, let's pass pro, and let's pass here light. And you can see that it is working. But of course, we need to make this parameter dynamic. And in order to do that, we need actually to store the selected option inside the state. And we are going to use the React hook useState. And we are going to place here standard as the initial value. So let's say selected option, set selected option. Let's pass there the selected option. And let's handle the on-option press. So here Copilot automatically understood everything, and that's correct because we want to update the selected option while pressing on the option. And you can see that here nothing is working. So the defect is simple. We are not handling the on-option press function. So you can see that we have defined here the on-option press, but we need to trigger to call the on-option press function while tapping on the option itself. So basically, let's retrieve there the on-option press callback. let's convert this view into a touchable opacity. And let's handle the onPress function. And let's call an option press with our option. So let's reload. And you can see that everything is working perfectly. So that said, of course, everything is working, but we are not animating things. And that's, of course, not correct. So we need to start to think about animations. But before thinking about animations, I feel that we need to refactor a bit the code that we have wrote so far. So let's start with this code right there. Let's create the active box style, and it will contain this style. So let's say here styles.activeBox. So let's update also this style, and let's call it styles.labelContainer. And here, in the end, we simply need to refactor also this one, and this is going to be styles.label. And I feel that is fine. So currently, I have no more excuse. I need to work with the animation. And the first thing that we want to animate, actually one of the unique things that we are going to animate, is this left parameter. So this left parameter is related to this view. Basically, we are going to animate, therefore, the view itself. And in order to have a view that works with animation, we need to convert it into an animated view. So let's import animated from React Native Reanimated. Let's specify the view. And here we need to create our Reanimated style. So let's use the use animated style hook from Reanimated. And let's return the left parameter that will be equal to item width multiplied by options.indexOf and so on. So simply what we have explained previously. And let's pass the reanimated style to the animated view. So by reloading, it should almost work. So it is working perfectly. But we need actually to keep the animation. We need to pass, we need to apply an high order function. We have a bunch of options basically. So for this use case, probably the with timing works better than the with spring option. And let's check it. And you can see that the animation is working perfectly. So here there is an important thing that I want to highlight. Actually, everything is working, but in a common use case, you need to pass also the dependencies to this hook. So here we need to pass the options, the item width, and the selected option. So that's very important. Otherwise, in some use cases, your animation will simply not work. And that's because these values are updated on the JavaScript thread. So that said, we are near to the end. But of course, you can see that we are not handling correctly the edge cases. So here, especially, we want to apply some sort of internal padding. So let's create there the internal padding, and let's set it equal to 20. Let's apply here the padding horizontal equal to internal padding. That's not perfect. And that's simply because we need also to apply the internal padding to the item width. So let's check it. And I feel that it is almost correct. Maybe internal padding divided by 2. That's not correct at all. So let's say minus internal padding. That's not correct either, because we don't need to apply the internal padding to the segmented control width. So let's apply here again the internal padding without the divided by 2, but let's remove here the padding horizontal. Let's reload. It looks almost correct, so of course don't check the box itself, but we probably need to shift everything on the left and I feel that it is correct. So of course that is not a common styling. Usually it's better to apply here the padding horizontal, but the important thing is that we need to keep the item width. We need to apply the padding also to the item width itself. So that's the important trick. And here, in order to fix everything, we need to pass the internal padding divided by 2 to the box. And let's check. And you can see that the animation is working perfectly. So here, let me check again what we can do. We can probably add some more options. And it will almost work. So of course, it's better to, let's say, parameterize also other options from the segmented controller, such as the font size. But of course, it will depend on the views, on the quantity of options that we are passing. So of course, if we are passing a ton of options, we need to refactor a bit the styles, but the logic itself will always be there. So everything will always work. So let's get back to our use case. And I feel that the animation is working perfectly. So let me know in the comment section if this tutorial was helpful. It was really fun for me to build this segmented control, and I feel that it could be very helpful and very helpful actually in a ton of use cases. So if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the section below if you want to give suggestions for upcoming content. Thank you very much.